Welcome to Secret Archives. Today we're diving into one of the oldest, deepest questions humanity has ever asked. Does God exist? This isn't an attack on personal beliefs or spiritual experiences. Instead, we're asking you to think, not feel, not follow, but think critically. Let's examine the question through logic, philosophy, and evidence. Let's begin with a simple question. If there's an all-powerful, all-knowing, perfectly good God, why is the world so broken? Tsunamis level entire towns. Children die from painful diseases. Innocent people suffer every day, not because of bad choices, but because of things outside their control. This is what philosophers call the problem of evil, and it raises a powerful challenge. If God is all-powerful, he could stop evil. If he is all good, he would want to stop evil. Yet, evil exists. So either God is not all-powerful or not all good. But if he is neither, then he is not the God most religions describe. Some say we have free will. That's why evil exists. But free will doesn't cause earthquakes, or cancer, or famine. These are built-in features of the world, not the consequences of human choice. And if God designed the world, he designed its flaws too. Imagine if an engineer made a plane that crashes randomly, killing passengers. Would we call that loving design or negligence? Now let's look at the idea of God through pure logic. Many religions describe God as outside of time and space, yet also active within it, answering prayers, performing miracles, punishing and rewarding. But how does that work? To do anything, there must be a sequence, a before and after, but outside of time there is no sequence. There is no change. So how can a timeless being act in time? It's a contradiction. And then there's this. If everything needs a cause and the universe was caused by God, then what caused God? Religious answers usually say, God has always existed. But why not say the same thing about the universe itself? If we can imagine something being eternal, isn't it simpler to say the universe is eternal rather than inventing a supernatural being with no evidence? In science and philosophy, there's a principle called Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually the best. We now understand lightning, earthquakes, the growth of crops, all through science. In the past, people said the gods did it. But as our knowledge grows, the need for God shrinks. That's the God of the gaps, an idea invented to explain what we didn't yet understand. But the gaps are closing. And just because science hasn't answered everything, doesn't mean God must be the answer. That mindset stops inquiry. It replaces discovery with dogma. Now ask yourself this. If you were born in Saudi Arabia, you'd likely be Muslim. In India, Hindu. In the US, Christian. Your religion often depends on your zip code, not divine truth. If there were one true God reaching out to all people, shouldn't belief be universal, not geographically divided? And consider this, most believers reject thousands of other gods, Zeus, Thor, Vishnu, and so on. Atheists just reject one more God than you do. What about holy books like the Bible or the Quran? They're often presented as divine truth, but many are filled with contradictions, outdated morals, and factual errors. For example, the Bible says the earth is a few thousand years old, but we know through geology, physics, and astronomy that the earth is over 4.5 billion years old and the universe much older. We've observed galaxies billions of light years away. We've studied fossils and evolutionary biology. The evidence doesn't match the ancient stories. And some of those stories, about slavery, genocide, and misogyny, reflect the cultures that wrote them, not a perfect moral being. But I've felt God, some say. I've had spiritual experiences. We don't doubt those feelings. People around the world report visions, voices, miracles, and divine presence across every religion, but they can't all be true at once. The human brain is powerful. It creates dreams, hallucinations, emotional highs. Feeling something is not the same as proving it's real. And let's not ignore the role of fear. Fear of death, of judgment, of meaninglessness. Religion often promises comfort and certainty, but comfort isn't the same as truth. Children believe in Santa Claus because it's comforting, but reality is not always magical. Sometimes it's just real. And here's a final thought. If a God truly wanted everyone to believe in him, why make it so hard? Why hide behind ancient texts? Why leave no undeniable proof? Why allow confusion, disagreement, and thousands of competing religions? A loving, powerful God could simply appear. Every generation, every culture, no ambiguity, no contradiction. But that never happens. Instead, all we have are stories written by people, revised, mistranslated, and interpreted in countless ways. It starts to look less like divine revelation and more like human invention. So, does this mean life has no meaning? No. In fact, it gives us the freedom to create meaning, to love, to learn, to help others. Not because a God demands it, but because we choose to be good. And maybe that's even more beautiful. Not being watched, not being judged. Just being human, with all the responsibility and all the potential that comes with it. Thanks for thinking with us.